First time running for office.
That's correct, yes.
Why? What happened? What inspired you?
Well, I think like a lot of us, I was inspired in a general way, looking at the state and national politics in the last few years, thinking of how can I do more than I'm currently doing. Specifically for this district, I saw an opportunity to be a candidate who really tries to offer every single person a seat at the table. Again, the things that make this district really great and diverse can sometimes be seen as a challenge. We have a lot of people represented here, a lot of different cultures and perspectives. Again, I think that if we focus on the things we have in common, we can actually make some progress on those issues.
You're running against Mr. Local. You can't get much more local, in fact, much more entrenched in local politics than Sims. What's the strategy to win the office?
Absolutely. I see this as, I'm the underdog. I have an uphill climb here. More people know who he is than who I am. And so my job in this campaign, and I've been taking it very seriously, is to get my name and my face out there to let people know who I am. I believe that once we have that chance to have a dialogue about some of the issues that I'd like to raise and some of the ways that we can navigate them together, then people will say, okay, great, maybe I can give this guy a chance. I think that, I've lived in Norwalk for a decade, and I consider it my home as much as anybody else. I think when we talk about, who's Mr. Local or who's not, we also have to make sure that Norwalk right now is in a great position to attract a lot of really great people to want to live here. And we want to make sure that we're welcoming those people and not saying, hey, this is my town, not yours, right? This is a town that has room for everybody. I believe that.
You've been out campaigning, you said that. What are you hearing from your potential constituents? What are the issues?
So far, the door-to-door campaigning has been extremely encouraging. I think people are ready for a new perspective, a new way of approaching problem solving that's, a little different from the way we've done it in the past. Some of the issues that people are bringing up are, they're not surprising. They're issues that are important in many local races. As Norwalk grows and changes, we want to make sure that it remains affordable, that growth does not displace people. I've had instances on the canvas where in the district, like maybe a mile away, I talked to one woman who was literally being evicted from her house that day, a house that she grew up in, that her parents owned and that she can no longer afford. On the same day, I canvassed a newer resident who lives in, a nice apartment. She's obviously doing very well for herself, and they're both constituents in this district, and we want to find a way to make sure that the issues that we have in common we can make some progress on them in a way that does not leave anybody out of the conversation.
Brought up the fact that your opponent has obviously been here for his whole life and is very much within the party structure. Have you gotten any negative feedback from the party hierarchy as far as running against the local person?
Not really. I think that, again, the encouraging thing for me is that as I put myself out there and say to not just to the voters, but to the party infrastructure, the local community leaders, from church leaders to leaders within the Democratic Party to leaders within right here in Ward B. Those conversations have been really encouraging. Of course, people are curious to know more about me. They say, well, we want to make sure that you have our best interest at heart. But every conversation I've had has ended with on a positive note, saying, yes, I think you're offering a viable alternative.